What's up, dude?
Hey man, how you doing?
Good. Finally in person. We finally have met over all these years, or this year and a half of following each other on social.
I know, the social media king.
Sure. I don't try to take that title, but I'm trying for it. So, how you been, man?
Good, staying busy, that's for sure.
Awesome. Why don't you let everyone know who you are?
Nick Anselmo, co-founder of Balloon Brokerage, just opened up in about September last year. Been in the business for about a year and a half, and staying busy, having fun.
Yeah, man. You and Dylan remind me of me back in the day with like me and Tristan. Like we were a year and a half in at Rob's, and then it was like things were kind of going south. I'm like, let's just open our own thing. Let's do it. It'll be easy, right? Like all the things I didn't realize, like printers and
oh my gosh,
like the internet going out and all this other stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Internet has gone out once. Printer is the worst.
Yeah, the printer is the worst. Whenever you need to print something,
running late for an appointment, trying to print out the MLS sheet, and you're like, yeah, it's not working. Yeah,
it's funny how like when I work now that I pay for print, now I realize how I never print anything. Yeah. Never. When I used to be at Rob's office, I would print all my disclosure forms out. I'd print all the MLS things. I don't print out anything anymore.
Really?
Nothing.
See, I still print out the MLS sheets.
Oh,
more for the client, though. Just give it to them so they don't have to ask so many questions. They have like everything in front of them.
No. So, what was the reasoning to get into the industry, man?
Really, it started off that I was serving tables in college, and I was just not fulfilled. Right? I didn't feel like I was making a difference in anyone's lives, and so that was the first thing. I wanted to do something that made me feel good, like I'd be proud of what I was doing. And I was getting towards the end of college, and I was looking at how much I was going to make with my bachelor's. And I was like,
what'd you get your bachelor's in?
Business administration. Yeah.
Oh, there, boy.
Yeah. So I was looking, and I was like, 60 grand a year
at the local Y.
Yeah, 60 grand a year, 70 if I was lucky. And I was like, I can't support a family off that. I can't buy a house. And I actually originally got my real estate license. Well, I'll sell like 3 houses, 5 houses a year, and it'll help. Maybe add 50% to my salary. Long story short, got my license, didn't do much, right? I was still serving tables and going to school, and then COVID hit, right? Got laid off from the restaurant. School got transferred to online, so I was like, okay, I'll treat real estate like a 9 to 5, and that's what I did. At least 9 a.m. to at least 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, most Saturdays, and I just started to blow up, and I was having tons of fun, and, especially helping first-time home buyers. One of my first big deal was actually an old family friend, and seeing them get into their first house, it was great.
Yeah, man, it's for sure. It's interesting, like how like the moment you start like having to commit to it, that's like the one thing people don't realize. Like it's like momentum, Like in this industry, it's like I show up every day because like I feel like if I stop for a week, I'd have to restart my momentum up.
Oh yeah, I feel that even skipping, going on a weekend trip, I get like anxiety. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta start everything back up again, the next day.
What are we dropping around here? That's all right. You can grab it. You're off camera right now. So that's interesting. So you started working with your boy, you and Dylan, right? You guys were kind of doing your thing. COVID was hitting, and then all of a sudden you guys were like, screw it, let's open up Balloon, your own brokerage. So what was the reasoning or the step or the thought process through that?
We just wanted to start off young. We wanted to really grow a team of younger agents, or just younger mindset, right? People that were motivated to do 20 plus deals a year and wanted to be a full-time realtor. You're just working in the industry, especially, some of the realtors that have been in here for a long time, it kind of felt like they didn't want to help. They didn't necessarily want to see us succeed. And there was a couple times that Dylan and I struggled. We're like, why does it feel like people are rooting against us? Like,
they are.
Like, why shouldn't we be helping each other? And so
that sounds familiar.
So like we want to open Balloon to kind of help newer agents, or people that, not necessarily just new agents, but people that maybe have not been producing as much as they wanted to help them succeed and grow their business a lot faster than we grew ours. So that was kind of the goal, and we just want to create a name for ourselves.
That a boy. Hey, you guys are definitely doing it, and it sounds, everything you're saying is so familiar, and that's what's so funny. It's like, it doesn't matter what town you live in or how old you are, because I'm 33 now. Like, that was the same reason we started our place, right? It was because it was like I was looking around and I was taking a lot of heat from trying to have green screens and video cameras everywhere, and the older agents couldn't process it.
Right.
And they just weren't accepting it. And so they're just like, you know what, like I'll just start my own place. Like, and I think it's interesting because, you know, I had an agent the other day who's younger. He's in his 20s, asked me like, why didn't you think good agents, or why didn't you think there's not a lot of producing young agents? And I think the problem is that it's so hard because you can't really listen to someone that's, one, been doing real estate for 25 years, or two, they're at that age where all their friends are selling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So how do you, and, you know, when you're 55, 60, it's a lot easier to walk into a 40-year-old person's house and them trust you to sell their biggest asset they have than a 30-year-old dude walking in, and now you have to like compete with that. And you can't say, oh, I've been doing this for 25 years. Even though like my product's probably better than them, I have more experience than them, I do more deals than them, our systems are faster than them. But yeah, so I think that's really the sad part about real estate is that like the average agent does 5 deals a year. Let's everyone remember that. There's a 95 fail rate past 3 years. And so I think it's interesting how like brokerages don't get any better because those numbers are the same. They've been the same for a long time. And NAR and CAR, the people that we pay our fees to every single month in our boards, have not done anything better to improve those numbers. I mean, like it's something I laugh about real estate, but it's like, dude, what other job if there's a 95% fail rate you would think it's a productive? How would you not change that?
Yeah, why wouldn't there be some sort of regulations or something?
Yeah, exactly. So you guys opened up your new spot.
Yeah.
How was the first few months? Because I remember so many things I like never thought about, that like having to get a business license and like what printer company do we go with and what internet do we go with, and so how's it been?
So I mean, I think first thing is we literally for day one we had a foldable chair and a foldable white table.
Yeah.
And that's all we had. And so the first thing we did, used a hotspot on our laptop and got internet set up for the weekend. And I think we probably went 2 weeks with just like foldable picnic chairs and tables and cases of water bottle and energy drinks. That was pretty much it, you know. And then one of the first things we did, we actually invited our media partner in, and you know, he set up an office with us, and it's just, we did some videos, and we need to get better, you know. King of social media over here, we're trying to follow you, and it just started, again, momentum. It was kind of like we had to build momentum all over again. You know, we still had momentum from our individual business, like, you know, Nick's real estate and Dylan's real estate, but we had to build momentum of the brokerage. And so it took us a little while to probably get our first couple agents. Yeah. But then it was like we got one, and then we got a second, and then we got 2 more. And then we got 3 more, and then it's like 5 more. And so I think we're up to like 13, 14 agents now.
Attaboy.
So it's been great. And we're starting to get to the point where people are starting to DM us a little bit more, you know, and message us about Balloon. And it's fun. It's nice.
I need to start taking some lessons how to get some agents working for me. Holy crap. So do you guys feel like, so what is the mission for Balloon? You know, obviously you talked about, you know, having a name and things. Are you guys shooting more for younger agents kind of in the Temecula area, or maybe just younger mindset?
Really just younger mindset, not necessarily Temecula at all. I mean, like one of our agents is killing it, but he's killing it in LA. You know, he focuses a lot in like Anaheim, Compton, Orange. You know, he does a lot of cities like that. We got a guy that works in San Diego County, you know, lives in Fallbrook, specializes in Fallbrook. So, I mean, really all over the place, not necessarily just Temecula Valley. Of course, that's kind of what our brand is built off of. Yeah. But just the younger mindset, because we feel like you can always learn something no matter where you are in the business.
For sure.
I mean, like, we've learned things from our newer agents. Like, you know, we had this girl that had just got licensed, you know, like maybe a week before joining us. And she was like, what can I do to stay busy? So we pulled up basically phone numbers around a listing that we had recently sold. And she was just geo-calling, right? And she set a listing appointment like that week. And she had only been in the business for like less than 2 weeks. And she was already sending a listing appointment. We're like, wow. I mean, we just asked her we told her to geo-call, and maybe we should try that. You know, we haven't done it, and so we started geo-calling, and we've, you know, set a couple of points.
I think I've noticed women's voices do a little bit better on the phones than men, right? I don't know what it is. Like when we were cold calling expires, we don't really do that right now because the market's so hot. all the girls always set appointments. I would never.
Really?
Yeah, the guys would never set appointments. The girls would always set appointments. I don't know why. If it's like the softer voice or less intimidating. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah, women's voices I feel like does so much better. Like I have a woman's assistant. I would never want to have a man assistant because I like the difference between my voice and her voice.
Right.
Yeah.
It appeals to different people.
Exactly. So you have 13 agents. You guys are based out of Temecula, but you have are you guys doing like monthly meetings? Are you doing training? What are you guys kind of doing for your agents?
Monthly meetings, right, with the whole team. And then we try to schedule at least a one-on-one meeting each month with each individual agent, right?
That's cool.
So we, typically Monday through Friday, sometime to the week, we bring an agent in at 7:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Talk to them. And pretty much the conversation is just what are some of your wins? What are some of the losses? Lessons you've learned, things that you can help with. Really just kind of get to know them, get to know what's working for them and what's not. And, we'll give our expert advice of what we think they could do to continue to improve their business and just really to get a feel for where they're at and how we can help.
So you guys more trying as a team? Like obviously teams are kind of a thing, or are you more like leaning more towards as a brokerage?
No, more towards a brokerage. I mean, it's tough because everyone's an independent, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is running their own business. It's not like it's team Nick and Dylan by any means. But we still are trying to keep the culture of a team, if that makes sense.
No, for sure. I think that's what I'm looking for here, right?
Yeah.
Like I only will interview agents that do at least 12 deals a year.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to ever talk to you about a request for repairs, or I don't want to talk to you about a listing appointment. I don't want to talk to you about standard things because that's not really what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to babysit you either. So 12 deals for me is like, okay, you know how to do real estate. You're motivated enough to do 12, but how do we get you to 24?
Right.
And that's marketing and branding.
Yeah.
And maybe some tips here and there.
Which is what you're good at.
That's what I'm good at, and that's what I enjoy. So it's like I've tried to do the team or brand new agents or whatever. It just doesn't fit my personality because I just get annoyed.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not a lot of babysitting. What we've realized has worked really well is that Dylan's got one of those cameras on his computer where you can screen record yourself and everything. And so he actually has created videos where he walks them through an RPA or walks them through an RLA or a request repair. So we have kind of minimized the hand-holding that we've had to do by pretty much creating a file of videos like, here, watch this video. Yeah. If you don't know how to do this, watch the video. We'll double check, your offer and we'll read through it, make sure everything looks good. But it's been nice. I think we went into open balloon thinking it was actually going to take a little bit more coaching than it has so far. So we've been pleasantly surprised. And part of that comes with just having great agents underneath us so far, And
that's so hard to find. I don't think people realize it's really hard to find motivated agents. You see these Keller Williams and you see these massive companies that have 200 agents at an office, and probably about the top 5% of the people in there do all the deals.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So are you guys did you feel like when you guys started Balloon, obviously you're talking about momentum coming, did you feel like it took away from your business because you were trying to focus on the brokerage so much? Or did you feel like just momentum switching a company was the reason you guys had to get things going again?
Actually, I think honestly, I think Dylan and I did take a little bit of a hit in November.
Yeah.
I don't think neither one of us closed as many deals as we thought in the month of November because opening the business in September, trying to get acclimated in October, there wasn't as much prospecting going on as we had wanted. Luckily, I think both our December and January were just monstrous. So, I mean, we caught up quick. But I think there was a small downturn in November that came from opening up the brokerage, trying to get some agents in there, buying furniture.
Yeah, people don't realize how much furniture is. Oh, my God. Furniture is so expensive. And then, you don't want to go cheap, but then you don't want to go really expensive. And then you're like, oh, my God, chairs. I was talking to someone today. Chairs. Yeah. Chairs are like $100 a pop. So you see 12 chairs, that's $1,200. It's not cheap.
No, everything's added up.
It adds up real quick. And that's something that was something that was an eye-opener to me when I opened this place, because when I left Rob's, I had no escrows. It was the first time in my career I had no escrows.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. But I didn't realize how much of a headache starting all new branding, switching to another company and all that stuff. So I looked around, and we were going into the winter. Yeah. So I looked around in January. I was like, dude, I got to start because my mindset was in the business and not into real estate
production.
Yeah. And it's like that shift of a mindset of like, I'm focusing on the business. I'm not focusing on prospecting and deals. It's funny, what you focus on is kind of what you lean towards.
Yeah, I think what helped us a lot is that in December we hired a director of ops or an assistant for both myself and Dylan, but also for the brokerage.
That's cool.
Right. So that helped us a lot in terms of, building the marketing material and, kind of taking some of the nitpicky stuff off our hands to allow us to continue to focus on our personal production, but also be there for the team, you know?
Yeah. So are you like doing a lot of time blocking right now? Like, cause like when I was running a team, like they could get a hold of me from 9 a.m. to 10:30, and outside of that, they would be able to get a hold of me at 2:30 to 3:30.
Yeah. I mean, so the way we have it, we have a brokerage group chat, right? And then we also have a group chat with each individual agent. So obviously the brokerage is the brokerage, and then each agent is me, Dylan, the director of ops, and that individual agent. So whenever they have a question, they just shoot a text in the individual group chat, and one of the three of us are always there to answer. If they want to do like a 30-minute meeting or whatever, we try and ask them to come in between like 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. because Dylan and I like to keep the 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. strictly for, production, right? Prospecting, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So what was something that, you've been in the industry about a year and a half and you only joined it because of COVID. What is something that, obviously you're like, oh, I'm just gonna get my real estate license, do a few deals. Like, what is something that was a little bit harder in the industry than you thought it was going to be?
Definitely the time, right? Yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of people think, oh, you join real estate, you work 2 hours a week and I'll close 5 deals, 10 deals. It's not like that, and I quickly learned that. Part of it was I think the original brokerage I was with, I had no idea what I was doing, right? When I switched, to the other brokerage, I was there 9 to 5, and that's when I blew up, just because it's just hard work. It doesn't take. I'm a true believer that you have to be smart, you have to be ethical, I think is the big one, but it doesn't take a lot of talent to be a real estate agent. It's just a lot of hard work. Great communication skills, I think, and just being ethical. Seriously, like just being genuine with your clients, I think takes you further than anything else.
I think that's so funny that you said that, because a lot of people are like, oh, I just want to get in the industry and help people. I'm like, okay, that's great until you have 20 grand on the table. Yeah. And you haven't closed a deal in a few months. Like, what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, do you actually sell the thing? I remember my first deal ever. I remember driving, and I remember my client being upset about something. I was like, all right, we just got to cancel. And I remember being in like a month and a half in the industry, no money, and I had to say like, all right, I'll send you the cancellation over. And she's like, you know what, forget it. Let's pull it out. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, let's do it. And like, that was like a hard text. Like, I could have easily been like, oh no, it's no big deal. I'm like, no, if you want to cancel, let's cancel. And I think that's something that people don't realize. It's like, is that like your livelihoods and your time and energy to not get paid. It's like, especially right when you're at the end, or like a client like you've been showing for 6 months walks into a new build without you, and you're like, sweet, thanks, man. I just had that one happen to me. That's why really? I'm salty right now about it.
Now my first, I think it actually might have been my second transaction, but my first listing ever, I took a huge commission cut.
Oh, really?
To get it, and on the assumption that I was going to help her buy, right? Yeah. Got her into 2 different escrows on her replacement. She backed out of both.
Walked into a new build.
Hit up a listing agent.
So note to self, agents, if you're ever going to do that, always do it on the buy side.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too that a lot of agents don't realize is like, or clients don't know, or people in general, is like when you see driving around, you see those list signs like, I'll sell your house for 1%, like, you just financially can't be done. Yeah. Like, I don't understand how those people make a profit, because it's like, after you pay everyone, then unless you're using cell phone photos, no assistant, no anything, and it's the cheapest thing possible. And, I have a client right now who hit me up who's working with Redfin, and I just got her and whatever, and she's like calling me. I'm like, you're technically in contract with a Redfin agent. I can't help you. Legally, I cannot talk to you. And she's like, I just have no guidance. I don't know what's going on. I said, you are the one that wanted that $1,500 credit back at the closing of your buyer's side. That's not, I don't know what to tell you. I can't change that now. And I don't think people realize is that I say this a million times. There's nothing better that's cheap.
Yeah.
I have never gotten anything that's better cheap. Seriously, name it. I love how we want to. Would you go to the cheapest doctor or the cheapest lawyer? No, you don't. So it's an industry where I would really like, it'd be a great idea, and I really wish if I ever ran for the car board, or I'd make real estate dues every month or every year $15,000.
You know who said the same thing? Was Dylan.
I'd make it $15,000.
Dylan said the same exact thing to filter out the not so good agents.
I'd almost make it 20. Say screw it. It's $20,000 a year to be a realtor. You know how many people would not be in real estate? I'm not worried of losing out to the top producers, the Brad Allwines and guys like that. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, I know I should lose to him for the most part. But like, it's the one-off people that really frustrate you, because those are the people that call you like in the middle of escrow, like, I'm in escrow with someone. You're like, thanks. Yeah. So how can I help you?
Yeah, you're like, what do you
I have some questions. I'm not your agent. Yeah. Oh, well, they're not returning my phone call. Well, that's why you should not have used them. So obviously, you said it was time. Did you feel like who you were working around really helped you too?
Yeah, definitely. When I switched over to Trillion, right, the second brokerage I was with, they just had such a great culture there. Yeah. I mean, Tyson is amazing.
Yeah, Tyson's a great guy.
Look up to him a lot, and his assistant helped me out a lot. And when I had questions, they were there to help. And especially being a new agent, I was always.
Yeah,
I
have
questions
so many questions.
Left and right. Yeah,
and that's the thing that people don't get. It's like, it's so important when you're new, and even when you're older, what office you go to, because like, you're gonna have questions.
Yeah,
you're gonna hit bumps in the road, or okay, like how can we brainstorm around these things? And that's what's so frustrating when you're at some of these offices that like don't help you.
Yeah,
or they, I want everyone to realize, like, all these Keller Williams and stuff, they say they have great training, but 95% of the agents don't make it. So their training's not that great.
Well, I mean, most of the agents we have, I'd say almost all of them have come from those big names, like the Caldwell Banker, Keller Williams, Century 21. Mm-hmm. They all came from them, because you can hand someone as many pieces of papers and documents to read, and you could teach them about the fine details, but unless you're helping your agents talk to people, right, they're not going to do any deals. You can read every document there is to real estate, but unless you're actually talking to people and getting yourself out there, meeting new people, you're never going to actually close a transaction. And I think that is where the training falls short on those big name brokerages.
Well, I think the hard thing too is like, it's too mass produced. Right? Yeah. It's the same thing they put up to all the agents. Like, you got to know, like, you got to have like a one-on-one relationship. And I think boutique and small brokerages teams and small brokerages are really going to take off, because like, it has to be more niche. What person, these skills they have, and how do we dominate their skills? Like, if I went to Keller Williams and they're like, you just need a cold call the other day, I'm like, that's not going to work for me. Like, that's not who I am. I hate that. I'm
drive you crazy.
Yeah, drive me crazy. I would quit. I wouldn't do it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is you got to figure out like what's best for you, because there's a million ways to do this job. Yeah, there's a million. Like, there's every style ever. There's guys that live and die off door knocking. Kristen Stone and James Shelby. I watch them door knock and cold call and make tons of deals and make tons of money. Great. I'm the guy on video, on social. There's guys that do postcards. There's guys that do, other things. And so you can't just throw one thing out there to everyone.
Oh, yeah. That's actually one of the first things we do is when we bring on a new agent, we say, hey, your homework tonight is seriously go home, think about what you would enjoy. Mm-hmm. Here are some of the common ways that you can grow real estate. And it's usually will be like, you can cold call, you can door knock, you can hit up your sphere, you can do, post a lot. We give them all these options. Go home, think about what you think you'll enjoy the most, come back tomorrow, and we'll build your we'll try and build your business around that niche and see how that goes for you.
Yeah. So when it comes to the company, you and Dylan, are you guys like both 50-50?
Yeah, 50-50.
So do you guys have weekly meetings talking about the direction of the brokerage, or and what are you guys trying to do new for 2021?
We try and do like a 5-minute meeting every morning between me, Dylan, and our assistant. But of course, we're all in the office together all the time. So I mean, even though we have like that 5-minute meeting, we're always interacting. Like, we always keep each other updated. Dylan and I will be like, "Guess what just happened?" You know, like something really great. Or like, and they'll be like, damn, you know, like that's what just happened.
Yeah.
But as far as 2021, Dylan and I both have a goal of 52 transactions personally, and then for the brokerage, we want a deal a day, so 365.
That a boy.
That's the goal. You know, that's the goal.
Hey, listen, man, I've been shooting for 40 million for 4 years now, so one of these days I'll get to 40 million on myself. You know. But that's awesome, man. So, you know, obviously you kind of said, you know, what you thought was harder was time. What's some advice you would give to someone new? You're still a year and a half in the industry and you're doing some crazy things. And I want people to realize this. And this is something that probably happens to you, and it definitely happened to me and still happens to me. Like, you see what we done, that's not the norm. Yeah. It's not the norm. Like, don't watch what I've done or what he's doing or Dylan's doing and being like, oh, I'm going to start real estate. Yeah. And that's what's going to happen. You know, start watching, you know. So that's the funny thing. People just think that it's so easy. I'm like, it's very hard. But like, so what's some of the advice you would give to a brand new agent?
Don't get discouraged. I think, like you said, I didn't do well until I went full time because I got laid off and COVID hit and all that. But I got my license in September of 2019. I did one deal until I think May of 2020. So, I mean, it took that's like 6 months. I didn't really make a penny, you know. And at the brokerage I was with, my one deal, I made less than minimum wage when you factored out time, you know, because the splits were just a killer. Advice would just be, don't get discouraged, and you can't just work 2 hours a day and think that you're going to get paid the big bucks. You know, you got to treat it as 9 to 5. And I totally understand. And we have agents that are in the transition phase from part-time real estate to full-time. I say, you need to do your best. So if you really want to be a full-time realtor and you really want to make good money, you have to do your best to still work 40 hours a week despite your part-time job. You know, that's how you're going to get a couple deals under your belt where you can leave your part-time job and just focus on real estate completely. But it's just hard work. I mean, don't get discouraged and just keep working hard and expect to not get paid for the first 6 months. I mean, easily. I didn't. Dylan didn't.
Yeah. I think too many people realize, like, you got to have some cash to do this. Like, you got to have to plan on having some cash. And that's something I always tell people, like, if you're broke now, don't get in real estate. Yeah. Like, if you're not making it, if you have no money right now, do not try to become a realtor thinking you're going to make quick cash. It's going to cost you way more money. And, you know, I'm the worst person to talk to about getting into real estate. Because I've watched so many people get into this industry, blow like $3-4 grand to get in, get their business cards, get their photo shoots, and then they're out, a year later they're out because they can't make enough money, or their significant other can't handle their job, because this job's demanding.
Oh, extremely.
Especially when you're new. I mean, it cost my engagement, you know what I mean, 5 years ago. Like, I mean, it's hard, and you have to fully commit to it if you want this to work. Yeah. And, you know, and I think that's the biggest thing that people have to realize, is that it's nothing, it's just hard work. Do you feel like it's super important to people to figure out, you know, what brokerage to go to or what team to join? Extremely.
I mean, if I would have gone to the correct team the first time, I'd probably be even further ahead than I am now. You know, the first team I was with, again, I did one deal in like 7 months, and it was terrible.
And I think that's the thing that people don't realize. Like, they don't care. They're not going to call you and be like, hey, why aren't you showing up today? We're all independent contractors. Yeah. You know what I mean? They really don't care if you do deals or don't.
No, it doesn't make a difference to them.
They don't make any difference. And then if you pop one off, or pop two off, they're planning on you to make 1 or 2 deals a year.
Make an extra 10 grand off.
Make an extra 10 grand off each agent, and then they're golden.
Oh yeah, they're sitting pretty. And
so are you guys coaching right now? Do you guys coach with anyone? You and Dylan, or no?
Do we have coaches?
Yeah, like, do you coach with like Tom or Mike or?
No. Yeah, I mean, I think I've definitely thrown it back and forth. Especially, I threw the idea back and forth before I was doing well. Since then, I haven't thought about it much. I mean, I've just been so busy, and, you know, I feel like there's not enough time in the day to do the production and, you know, to keep up with what I'm doing now. Not saying like coaching's a bad idea. It's just not something that I'd be super excited to do.
Yeah. So are you guys doing anything to like kind of like grow? Or do you guys like read books or watch a lot of YouTube videos, or is there anywhere you guys are like trying to grow that you could maybe say that you're doing that's kind of helped you, not even just right now, but just while you were with when you guys first started and all that? Were you guys reading books or watching videos or learning or?
Mine was YouTube videos.
Yeah.
So when I first started, so I picked up like I think $120,000 lead from Realtor.com in Palm Springs.
Nice.
And I don't think I'd done really any deals yet.
Yeah.
So I was like, gotta do it. So I on my little dashboard, I put my phone and listened to YouTube videos of how to get started as a real estate agent. And one popped up about Facebook ads. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that's a good idea. You pick your own budget. So that I didn't get the deal. Drove 4 hours but then back to Palm Springs. Didn't make any money off of it. But came home, created a Facebook ad, and got my first listing probably like 3 months later from the ad. So I mean there's always room to grow. There's always room to learn, and that's something that honestly I should probably start again. I should make more time instead of listening to music between appointments or in the car. I should probably start listening to more podcasts.
Yeah, that's why my goal is to read 45 books this year. You know what I mean?
It's a lot of books.
Yeah, it's a lot of books.
Yeah, it's a lot of books.
I'm at 30. I have 39 to go. So, and that's the problem too, because when I first got started, I was like into Gary and Grant and Joshua Smith and all these guys, and I was consuming so much content, and then like I got too busy. Right. I got so busy where now I'm like, I'm good. Like I like fell off, and now I'm like trying to ramp back up again.
So when do you read? I mean, because clearly you're doing tons of deals. I mean,
I would say the hands down, there's only two people in my career that literally, like, if there's only two people you have to watch in real estate, and it's so funny, is not Grant Cardone, is Gary V. Like I ride and die off Gary. Whatever Gary says, I do. It's the whole reason I've made so much money in real estate is because of Gary. And then the other person when I first got started was Joshua Smith. I took a you've never heard this story, so I'll tell you. I was in Iowa. I was umpiring in Iowa, and I remember being in my hotel room. Had no money, and I came across Joshua Smith on YouTube, and that's how I found into Gary and Grant, was from his podcast, and he was doing this 90-day boot camp. It was $1,000, and I remember having like no money and being like, and I didn't even have my license yet. I would study in my hotel room. I would literally like have flashcards, right? And I would travel. And when I would go through security, I would see like my suitcase like go on the X-ray, and it would have like all my flashcards, and they're probably like on the bottom. They're probably like, "What does this guy have in there?" And so I remember going to take a shower to get ready for the game, and I came back and I just like put my credit card in, and I was like, boom, $1,000. I was like the biggest investment. That one investment of $1,000 has made me so much money. But and then I just dove in hard. Like I would unplug my TV when I lived on the road, and I just read books. And wow. I'd read Gary's books and Grant's books and all these books, and then I'd watch all of Josh's videos, and I just got super consumed with it. And it's literally paid off because it kind of built my like foundation, you know, like Josh was like the foundation, like how to do open houses. I still to this day put out 50 open house signs on every freaking open house. 50 every single time. 50.
That's a lot of size. Bro,
50, right? 50 every single time. And I would work double open houses every single week when I first got in the industry, Saturday and Sunday. So I would call agents, "Hey, can I work your open house? It's vacant. Yeah. Can I work your open house? Can I work your open house?" And I would be putting out signs and suits, and freaking I'd be sweating through my suit, and I'd be dying. I'd do that every single weekend.
That's funny. I did that too, and then COVID hit. So
yeah, every single weekend. And then so I just like Grant and like literally, and then I started following Grant, and just the afternoon of times 10 and having to work 10 times harder than you think you need to, and think 10 times bigger, and you are what you consume every single day. It's the dumbest thing ever, and you think it's so like whatever, but it's true. If I'm consuming good content every day, it's gonna make me think of new things to go do. The reason I come to the office every day is not because I need to be here every day, but I come here every day because like maybe a new idea hits me. Yeah. Right. And then this happens. And that's what I used to do when I was new in the industry. I would sit in that office. I was sleeping in Beaumont on a mattress on the floor, living out of my trunk. Like I didn't want to go back to Beaumont. Yeah, right. Right. And so I would literally like sit in the office by myself at Rob's office, and I'd be like, okay, that's a new idea. Let's try to do that right now. Yeah. And I've evolved. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've show up every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that, and I've like have learned real estate. Yeah. Like I know the ins and outs of a transaction. I know the ins and outs of loans. I know what we need to do. And so when I do meet with someone, I can bring a lot of value to them. and that kind of helps me out a lot.
It's just a resource.
Yeah, I actually, my tip to any agent, and Adrian, make this one 1 minute clip, is that pull out your phone and look at your social and look when was the last time you post something actually valuable to someone.
Right.
Got it. Then go look, could a brand new agent post that same post? And if they can, that doesn't count. So if you're posting, just sold a house, 20 offers, sold it in one day, 20, any agent can post that right now because the market's crazy.
Right.
Right? Any agent can post that. That person's your first listing or your 200 listing. They can make the same post. That doesn't count because it doesn't separate you and doesn't bring any more value to the table than a brand new freaking agent. So when you're talking about, oh, how to get qualified for a loan, a brand new agent can post that. What separates you is posting knowledgeable things that separates you from a brand new agent. That's what I think every single time. Every time I post something, how do I post something that a brand new agent can't post?
I'm going to take that home. Really?
Dude.
Yeah, I like that.
That is what separates me from someone else. And I don't mind being the person who goes, market's going to not crash, or the market is going to crash. I also put on video that said Purple Bricks was gone. 3 months later, they've collapsed. I got that on video, me saying Purple Bricks is done, and then it happened. So I'm not scared of putting out what I believe.
Right.
You know? And if it changes, it changes. You know what I mean? And then I make an adjustment. I'm not smarter than anyone else in this game, but that is what every agent makes a mistake. Don't share the memes that everyone else is sharing, right? Don't wrap everything into real estate. Another thing is I've never asked for business online. I've never asked who's looking to buy or sell, call me. I've never asked for it because I'm never going to ask you for your business. I'm going to earn your business every single time. Everyone else can ask you because this is an analogy I had the other day, and I'm ranting right now.
No,
but,
yeah,
but what's the difference of you making an Instagram post saying who's looking to buy or sell, or the homeless guy standing on the sign asking for money? It's the same exact thing. Why don't you just go stand on the corner and say who's looking to buy or sell and just stand there all day long? You'd probably have a better chance. I mean, seriously, it's the same thing. It's just one's digital and one's not.
Right.
There's no difference. And all you're doing is posting. It's like right now when people, I've turned down 5 listings this year because I tell them it's a bad time to sell. Because if they're going to sell, where are you going to go buy it?
Yeah.
It doesn't solve your problem. I lose more money because I'm honest with people than I take. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And if you want to go work with someone else, great. That's fine with me.
Good luck.
I understand. No, it's not good luck, but it's like, I understand. No worries. Like, all I hope is that you think real estate, my name at least comes in your head. I might not get the deal. You might go with your cousin or your mom's best friend or someone, but at least in my head, I know that you're thinking of me. That's the game.
I like that. That's cool.
Well, anything you want to add off, man?
No, just thank you for being here.
No, man, thanks for sharing your story. I think that what you guys are doing are inspiring. I remember everything you were going through because I did the same thing. And I do not understand. If you're a brand new agent, I'm going to make this announcement. If you're a brand new agent, go work for young people doing deals because you can't follow the person that's been in the industry for 30 years and has lived in this city for 35 years and has a reputation. You can't do what they do. And that's the biggest mistake I made. I tried to do what the old agents did, and it didn't work. I had to think about how do I do it for the new game. And those older agents just don't know how to help you. So work with people that can actually help you and bring value. So appreciate your time, man. Thanks for stopping by. Until next time, guys. Peace.